At this point, what the South Africans are asking for I should be clear, they're calling for the International Court of Justice, not the International Criminal Court. They're calling on the international justice to issue effectively what we call in our society a temporary restraining order. That is to say, they said, if I can explain for your audience, there is a genocide convention. Israel is a signatory to that convention. South Africa is a signatory to that convention. And South Africa is saying that Israel is guilty of genocide. It's in breach of the convention. Israel says it's not in breach of the convention, and therefore that constitutes what's called a dispute under international law. And that being a dispute, the International Court of Justice, which can arbitrate on disputes pertaining to international conventions, as is the Genocide Convention, the International Court of Justice can decide who's right and who's wrong in this matter, in this dispute. Now, the ICJ, or I take that back, South Africa wants to expedite the process because the genocide's happening before our eyes in real time. So they want to expedite the process. And the way you can expedite the process is to say, we are not asking for a final judgment by the ICJ, the International Court of Justice. We're not asking for a final judgment whether it is or isn't genocide. What we're asking for is something else. We're asking that you acknowledge that we're making a plausible case for genocide, and therefore, if we can use the example, a temporary restraining order should be put on Israel until the whole case can be adjudicated. So that's their demand, and I think it's impossible to. This morning I got an email from, I like to call him my friend, I think it's fair, John Mearsheimer from the University of Chicago. And he said he's been looking at this South Africa brief the past couple of days, and he said it's really quite impressive. Absolutely. It was very well done. Yeah, you could see the handiwork of John Dugard in that brief. It's overwhelming. So on the merits, I would say, to use the language it's being used, they make a plausible case. But these things are never decided by the merits. They're not decided by the law. They're decided by politics. You can't get around it. And so what do you have now? The ICJ consists of 15 justices, or judges. We use justice for our Supreme Court. They call them judges. There are 15 judges. The 15 judges comprise the Security Council and 10 other states. So Russia, China, the US, the UK, and France. Okay? The 5 permanent members, they have representatives on the ICJ. So you think to yourself, oh, great. Okay, we lose with the US for sure. We lose with the UK for sure. France is a question mark, given the statements it's been making about what's going on in Gaza. I would call it a question mark.
Yeah.
And then we say, oh, great. We have one question mark, and then we have Russia and China. And you think, okay, we have Russia and China on our side. Well, Russia is now being challenged or accused of genocide in Ukraine. And that's a pending case in the ICC, the International Criminal Court. So do they want to open up the Pandora's box of that genocide convention, which might backfire and be used against them? Very unlikely. China. Well, as everybody knows, China is being accused of genocide against the Uyghurs. So do they want to open up the Pandora's box of the Genocide Convention and it's used against them? I would say very unlikely. So right now we have 1 of 5, which is France, maybe.
Right.
Then Germany's on this year.
Forget it. They'd vote for it. They'd be worse than Israel on it.
They would vote for the genocide.
Yeah.
We agree it's genocide, but we're for it.
Right, exactly.
Then Uganda, which always votes with Israel, don't ask me why, it's on. So we have 4 probably will not vote for its plausibility. Then Germany, then Uganda. So that's 6. Morocco is on. Morocco will vote, I think, yes. It's a plausible case. And a few others. It'll be very tough. They need 8 votes. They need 8 votes. If you want to bring it up now, are you in front of a screen?
Yeah.
So just go International Court of Justice, judges today. And we'll see which countries are up there.
Okay. All right, Brad, I'm going to send this to you. And then you can screen share it. Okay. I'm texting it to you.
So the current president, or current members. So America, forget, hopeless cause. Russian, I would say unlikely. Slovakia, maybe a yes. Slovakia, France, I would say 50-50. So we have 2. Morocco, I say a yes. So we have 3. Somalia, probably a yes. That will be 4. China, probably a no or an abstention. Uganda, a no. Let's continue. India, well, since Modi's committing genocide against Muslims,
Right.
I would say a no.
And he's close with Netanyahu.
Right. Jamaica, maybe a yes. Maybe a yes. Lebanon, a yes. Japan is so terrified of the United States, I would call it a no. Germany, I would call a no. Australia, no. Brazil, definitely a yes.
Oh,
so I
got 7?
I got 6.5 because we don't know about France.
Okay.
I would get 7. That would be my guess.
Yeah. All we need is 1 to flip to reach 8.
It's hard to get 1 to flip.
But you've been obviously saying from the get-go that this is genocide, as have a lot of.
I had a very simple argument. It was so simple. Sometimes, the most obvious is also the most correct. Oh God, what is it?
Occam's razor.
Occam's razor. If you say that you're not going to let any food, water, fuel, electricity into a civilian population, can you tell me what you're advocating?
Genocide.
Yeah, that's not, to me, that's a no-brainer.
Right.
You don't really need much more. I mean, obviously, if you read the brief, there's a lot more you can add to it. But to my thinking, that was case closed, as they say.